Long before the anime and the countless sequels, you probably remember playing the original Castlevania on your Nintendo, maybe even blowing into the cartridge just to make it work. But did you know there was also an arcade version? That's right, Versus Castlevania brought the vampire slaying action to the arcade in Nintendo's Versus system in 1987. This project started as a beat-up Nintendo cabinet, but we're turning it into a full-on, dedicated Castlevania machine, with new art and custom details that even the Count himself would approve of. Hey Electric Starship fans, welcome back to the channel. So, today, we're going to start on Versus Castlevania. This is a Nintendo game. You probably played it on your NES, and that's what you remember it from. It wasn't really found in the arcade very often. They did make a Versus version of this, so it's just an arcade version of this game. Now, I told you we're going to start today, but I actually started quite a while back. I got this cabinet probably about 2 years ago, maybe 3. I'm having a hard time finding any early footage of me getting it, because I know I recorded some, but it's probably been lost to time. One of the things I have done is I made sure the monitor is working really good and the boards are working really good. Nothing's really wired up here. I mean, I guess a little bit. You can move them around, but not much. There was this laminate that you can see on the side here. It was on both sides, and I actually started peeling it on this side. So I'm going to show you that. We got a long way to go on this thing. I wasn't really going to film a video, but once I saw how far we had to go, I went, all right, let's go ahead and show a restore video, because I know y'all love those. That's probably my most requested video on YouTube. Fortunately, they're the thing that takes the longest, and I would only put out 4 to 5 videos a year. So I have to have some other content for you to watch. But let's take a look at it. Let's see the differences in sides and see what we have to do, like how far we have to go. All right, let's get in close and see what we're dealing with here. Now, it does look like it has an original marquee on it. This plastic has been kind of destroyed here, so we're gonna have to get a new piece of plexiglass to go over that. The control panel is not bad, although we do have a really kind of cool custom artwork piece to put on that. If it wasn't for that custom piece, we probably wouldn't mess with that, maybe touch up here, you know, with a little black paint or something, but it's on there pretty good. Someone's already painted this black. It was an orange cabinet, as you can see before. I thought Donkey Kong Jr., but actually, I don't think it was. So here's the laminate on the side. Now this is amazing. This would have been perfect had it been laid right, or, you know, I have 2 theories. If you can look here, you can see it kind of bubbling, okay? Which either A, I'm gonna put nice artwork on this and it's gonna bubble and just look weird, or B, it's gonna last forever, but it's always gonna bother me. I don't know, you know, I don't know which way to go with that, but I can tell the cabinet wasn't completely prepped right, or it was left out in the heat. One of the two caused all this bubbling. Now, I've had it in climate controlled storage since I've got it. When I got it, it had this bubble effect, and you can see, you can kind of push in on it, but the glue won't hold. So that's what it looked like when I got it. Now, I do have this really cool custom bezel. I think is gonna look really awesome on it, and I believe I bought that afterwards. It might have came with that. It is unfortunate that there's a nice little scratch. Now, when I peeled off the laminate, this is what I found underneath. It had the kind of Versus System Nintendo sticker on there, and it was quite faded out. It had some water damage. You can tell here where that was kind of covered up, and you can tell it was painted at one point and sanded at one point, but they didn't get the sticker off, which caused some problems. And this adhesive they used, I don't know if they used rubber cement or if they used Super 33. If they use Super 33, a lot of times that degasses and can cause bubbles. So I don't know, I just don't know. You can tell there was water damage at some point because you can see it on the insides here. Board set, it's working good. There's some extra little boards in here that are just kind of floating around when you move it, but this is the board set here. I believe this is just a 1-slot Versus Nintendo board. There was some Bondo work done at some point, and then there's just this kind of extra stuff here, and it's just not adhered very well. You can see it's kind of easy to pop off. So that's why I went ahead and I'm gonna peel it off. I'm gonna try to Bondo and patch these holes, but it's not smooth like a Nintendo cabinet. When you look at a Nintendo cabinet on the side, it's kind of dark over here, but it's like super slick and smooth. I mean, it's like ice. You can see the reflection of my finger in it. We're probably never gonna get it back to that if it was indeed like that at one point. We got a little ways to go, but I think we can make this thing shine pretty nice, at least get it flat on the sides. I'll show you like the nightmare it is to peel this stuff off. You know, this is just, you know, sometimes it peels, so it's just not adhered very well. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with, and wish me luck. Let's try to make it look a little nicer. We do have a nice Nintendo monitor. You know, it has a little burn, and I can't quite tell what it is that was in there. You know what I think it was? It looks like it was, when you look at it like this, oh, hell, I don't know. It looks a little like, I don't know, maybe a baseball game or something. I'm not sure. I can't really tell. But the picture is actually really pretty on it. This is a Sanyo 20 EZ. I think it said EZV on it. And someone's already recapped it. They put a sticker there, so that's good. It was recapped in 2021. Hadn't really been ran much since then, but it was originally made January 1984. So pretty good little monitor here. And it should have a really, really nice picture. It does, or if I remember correctly, it did. Okay, so we got the side panel off, and here's what we got underneath here, this Versus Unisystem Nintendo sticker, what's left of it. And I mean, some of this, as you saw in the video I might have mentioned, is, you know, some of it just peeled right off because it didn't have the layer of glue laid on right. You kind of see right here where it wasn't really making contact. And then some of it, as you saw when I had to apply some heat, was really on there, but you can see how thick it was. So it wasn't touching like in between this, so it was kind of bubbled out. Well, that's unfortunate because, you know, I hate to break off laminate and go with paint, but at this point, now we're gonna have to get this all smooth and prep this cabinet, you know, the right way. Here we go. Now we're kind of starting from ground zero again. Well, the next thing we have to do is prep this cab for painting. We gotta get all this rubber cement off, all this extra stuff that wasn't prepped the first time. I'm gonna try to use this premium stripper. As you can see there, I got a newer can too. Let's see if this one works. A lot of times you leave these on the shelf, they don't work. I'm going to start by laying down a heavy dose of this premium stripper. Now, you want to put enough on there to get it completely wet, let it sit for 15 minutes, but you can't let it sit too long because then it dries and it doesn't work the same way. So it's not an exact science. I used a putty knife to really get in there, and then I had to wipe some of it off. And then it was the sticker, and this sticker was a nightmare. It had kind of a Mylar effect to it, but I think we got it all off and ready to do the other side. Okay, for the most part, we have all the sticker residue off. I just got to kind of clean this up, do a little wood hardening, a little sanding, a little bondoing, see what we get. But first, we got to flip the cab over and work on the other side, make sure we get everything stripped off the other side, including this sticker, which looks to be more complete. Good news is a Nintendo cab is pretty lightweight, especially with the monitor not present inside. Now that we have it flipped over to the other side, we're going to try a different approach. The stripper really didn't have much effect on this sticker. It's not just paper or vinyl. It's some sort of kind of Mylar material underneath it. So we're going to apply heat first so we don't have to deal with all the stripper being on top of it, making a big old mess. Maybe we can get this off. The other side was kind of shredded up as well. So this one's more complete, so maybe it'll be a little easier. And then we can come back and get the contact cement off with the clean strip.
So it's time to come in with our industrial hairdryer. Our heat gun on the sticker was no match, actually. So this was way, way better. If you're ever peeling one of these Nintendo stickers off, use the heat gun if possible, and it'll save yourself a lot of time.
So we're gonna actually apply some wood hardener into some of these spots where the wood is open. That way I think it'll adhere, the Bondo and the wood will adhere better if it's not chipping away. So wish me luck.
This is wood hardener. You just apply it on with a paintbrush. You can get both of those things at your local Home Depot or Lowe's. It just makes the wood not flaky.
Got wood hardener on now. Got to let it dry a couple hours, let it set before we can start applying Bondo to it. So it's the waiting game. Not to you guys though. Bondo's next.
Bondo is a two-part system that you mix together, and when it cures, it gets really hard. And all we're doing is filling in all those gaps so we can sand it and make it smooth later. Okay, we're all Bondoed up. This is what it looks like. I'll probably have to do a little more Bondo work on it, but we gotta sand it down, get a light coat of paint on it so I can see what is missing, what's going on, and how well we can get this thing looking. Safety first, guys. Got to wear a respirator. We don't want Bondo in our lungs or anything else for that matter. After a few more passes and several different grits of sandpaper, you get a nice smooth cabinet. That's smooth and better. So what we need to do is just sand the other side. Should be easier than this side. I think this was the rougher side. God, I hope so. We have it all sanded, so I think we now have to put a coat of paint on it so we can see all the little spots that we missed, and then sand it again. So I'll put some more Bondo on it, sand it again, that kind of thing. I'm putting on a little white coat of paint. As I said yesterday, it's kind of a first-person view. This didn't have to be anything special. This is just me putting a coat on so I can see all the little, stuff like that. Ooh, I'm gonna zone that in here. Stuff like this. See, I can Bondo that up. Put a little more on it. But to see it right, you have to kind of have a coat of white on there. Okay, it's a few days later, and we are back in front of our Castlevania project. And so what we have to do now is go back and find all the little pits that we missed and Bondo those, and then we get another coat of paint on, another coat of primer, and then maybe we can finally paint this thing. I think I do have to cut some T-molding slots too. So let me show you what I do to find these little pits, and then I can go back and hit the Bondo. So from here, it doesn't look so bad, but once you get close, you can kind of see where I need some Bondo here. So I'm just gonna put some little dots so I can see those really well and make sure I don't miss them, when I come back. There's some little edging here. So this way I can kind of get out ahead of it and my eyes just jump right to where these bad spots are. All right, a little more Bondo on there. And hopefully we can get to some sanding and some painting. All right, Brian's starting his first tech day today. He's blowing all the dust off our Castlevania. Hey, Brian's got a coat of primer going on this thing. Looking good, Brian. It's finally time to lay on our first coat of black paint. Happy little trees. Well, there you go. It's a pretty good start. There's a couple of parts I had to farm up for one reason or another. Just finding little divots and things like that I need to fix. But for just your first coat, this one's already starting to dry over here. Your first coat, not so bad. All right, well, we're on to control panels. This is probably my least favorite part because it means I'm gonna have to strip one of these control panels down. And whatever Nintendo put on here, it feels like paint almost. Like if I didn't know better, I would think this was screen printed on the metal. And this one seems to be worse than this one. This one I had in the back, and this one is the one that was on the machine. I'm gonna flip them over and I'm gonna show you some differences. I may actually use some of the hardware off of this other one. This one's just so nice, I feel like you could hot drop it onto
a future project. There's one back there that's worse, but then I'm dealing with a bunch of rust damage. So it's between these two, and I think we're gonna strip this one down.
Now this one, everything seems a bit nicer. I mean, the joysticks move really good. These, you can hear that kind of springiness to them. These, not so much. The joysticks are pretty janky. But I like this panel better. I cleaned a spot off so you can kind of see. This one does have like some chipping, and anyway, I got to turn one of these into a really cool dedicated Castlevania, so I think it's going to be this one. Let me flip them over. So you can see this is the one that I just think is so nice. This is a really nice control panel. It has all its original hardware as opposed to just some like random Suzo hat buttons. You know, these are leaf switch buttons with these special kind of Nintendo leaves, and they're all there. You know, some of these aren't completely on there just correct, but they're there, and everything looks really nice as far as the joysticks go. These look a little jankier. The joysticks probably can be just rebuilt and fixed and just fine. The buttons look a little sad, but I don't know that it really matters for Castlevania. I think it's funny that a couple of them are kind of micro switches with levers, and one of them here is just a regular old micro switch. So just a bunch of random stuff. I don't know that I need it to be perfect underneath like this, but there's no reason to gut this thing and tear it up when it could go on another project. Whereas this one, as you can see, is kind of beat anyway. So I think we're gonna go with this. First things first, we need to take off all the joysticks, buttons, and this wiring harness. Oh look, rust, how fun. Yeah, this is never a great part, especially when someone else has butchered the control panel. And I found that they had really jammed these buttons in here and even carved out some of the metal. This last button, impossible to get out.
As you can see, that was a chore. You know, I'm glad we did this control panel. So you can see in these holes here, they've been routed out to fit bigger buttons, which that sucks. I think the other buttons will still fit in there. I just think they just wanted to route the holes out so they could put other buttons. We can put whatever buttons we want. It's frustrating to come in behind someone, you know, like different size bolts, you know, the nuts and bolts are all different, so I'm having to use different tools. Some of these things are glued in, or I had to like break them out. You know, so some of these buttons I just smash out of there because I couldn't get them out. Loctite it in, all kinds of stuff. So anyway, just random things you shouldn't do. So now we got to strip this thing down.
I have to say, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. This was not that tough. Now, there's still some adhesive keeping some of the colors, the gray and the red on there. But as far as this stuff, it came off really easy. I just got to peel it off with a knife. A lot of times you are fighting. So we still got a little ways to go, but at least that didn't take all day. So I'm using this clean strip, and this should just get this stuff to come right off. Matter of fact, you can see the ink kind of spilling already with this stuff. It's pretty rough. You had to get it off of there. Look at that. So you can just kind of get that right off of there now. But I was able to get everything off. I did have to come back with the sander. There was just some little adhesive left. You can see it under a black light. I should have filmed that. It was actually pretty cool. But anyway, looks like we're almost ready for artwork. It's time for some multitasking. So we've done the control panel, but we've got to figure out what we got to do to clean these joysticks up. And they're pretty rusted out inside. We need to get this little bearing nice and smooth.
Well, after disassembling these, really, I mean, there's nasty stuff in here. After disassembling these, I just see that we have a lot of really rusty parts, and I don't think this joystick's ever going to move right without getting a little bit of this rust gone. And then we'll put some 3-in-1 oil in it, and it's going to be really nice. I think we need a soak. If you look in there, there's a little, it's kind of like a little bearing that's in there. I don't know if you can see that. Here, maybe I can. You see that movement in there, that little ball?
we need to try to break some of this rust loose. So I'm gonna use some Evaporust, Evaporust, however we want to call it. I'm gonna soak these overnight, and then we're gonna see if some of that rust has gone away, and hopefully we can just oil it up and it'd be better then. But yeah, after getting this all apart, I don't want to just oil it up and be done. And here I put all the joysticks and the parts in this one. And I didn't want to get to the micro switches, but I did get all the rusted parts underneath. So we'll see how that works tomorrow. Yeah, it was all the vapor rust I had. You know what? I may throw these plastic pieces in there because this says it doesn't harm them. So maybe we'll dunk them too. Who knows? All right. Well, we got the second coat on and everything is looking pretty good. Front looks good. Even at the top. Can't tell because of the way the light's hitting it, but it did. This side, second coat, and to the back door. Well, since we have everything painted, let's check back on our parts. Ooh, it's like a toxic wasteland. Look at that. Over here too. So, been kind of like this little spot here, and just rubbing off some of the rust, and yeah, it's looking like it's working pretty good, as you can hear. Ooh, yeah. Whoa, boom, nuclear explosion there. It's on the, oh, there's a spring. Oh yeah, see? Spring looking good. Getting these parts all cleaned up. Okay, it's been a minute. I think most of the rust has fallen off, and I think we can get these parts out, clean them up, and hopefully oil them up and have some nice, good joysticks for this game. All right, let's start looking at some of these parts. And yeah, the rust has been completely knocked off of these. Got the little spring there, and then here's the joystick. It's looking way better. Pull this base out and check it out in a minute, but look at these plastics. I mean, they really knocked the rust off. I'd use my canned air to get in there, but check it out. And the little bearing is the one thing that I was really worried about, and it looks to be in great shape. I'm loving it. It's time to put back together these Nintendo joysticks. So I'm gonna oil them up. I'm gonna try to piece them back together. Now, there may be other ways to do this, and just leave it in the comments if I'm doing this all wrong. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants when I'm putting these things together, and I see things I can improve on. You like to do it a different way, I completely understand that. Put it in the comments, you know, share it with everybody on there. Maybe make a video yourself, either way you want to go. But I'm gonna put these back together, I'm gonna oil them up, and we're gonna see if they are a little nicer once we put them all back together. All right, well that wasn't such a chore. They went back together really easy. You know, they do have play in them, and I don't know if that's just common. You guys can tell me in the comments. I just think the only way they wouldn't have play is if the, maybe if the spring was a little tighter, but it's pretty taut. And then, or maybe if this, this little bearing that touches all the switches. I don't know. You tell me in the comments below, but as far as like them being clean and rust free, I think, you know, they're really well put together here. Pretty nice. All right, well, we're coming down to some of the final things we have to do to start putting this thing back together, which I'm very excited about. Make it a vampire yet. Let's see here. We have a really cool control panel overlay, and I mean, I don't know if y'all can see that. Well, I guess you can. So you got little bats and the tombstones here, so it's gonna make it feel like Nintendo, but also make it feel that it is Castlevania. And this is how our control panel turned out. I think it turned out really good. I put a flat black on it to help that sticker adhere to the metal better. But yeah, pretty sharp, not bad. So let's get this nerve-wracking process going here. All right, let's see if we can get this right in one shot. I like to use a couple of clamps to hold it in place. If we do that, we gotta make sure it doesn't slide around once we get it set. And if you notice, I got a light underneath so I can see the holes and make sure we line it up. Let's cut some paper back and use this squeegee here. And once you're here, you're committed. So you pray you have everything straight and correct, and it's looking good so far. Make sure I don't have any air bubbles. Move the clamps, and we gotta do the other side. I'm putting some paper underneath just so it doesn't stick to the cardboard. And then I use my fingers and my hands to roll over the edges. And it looks pretty sharp. Now I gotta go in, speaking of sharp, gotta go in with X-Actos and cut out all the button holes and the joystick holes, and man, pretty nice. Well, I have the joysticks back on, all the buttons are, I'm actually gonna get new buttons. I got all the button holes cut. Some of them, like I said, this is not cut. That one, the metal is actually jagged there because they tried to fit those big wrong buttons in. But I'm gonna show you on this control panel, I ordered these new button brackets. We have brand new ones coming with new switches, so all those will be replaced, so it'll have the right ones for that. Then also I had to order these little collars, and I ordered purple and red buttons, so I'm gonna put a purple red there. And then this hardware, you see it's all new hardware. I actually had it ordered for some of the candy cabs. I used them all. I used every bit of it, but it's got brand new hardware on there. And I put it all back together. We're just gonna have to wait on buttons, unfortunately. The control panels turned out great. I think they look like dead on. That's about the best sticker placement I can do. All right, I'm looking forward to putting this thing together.
Well, we got most of the control panel put together, so now it's time to start working on the cabinet again. So we got it mostly painted. I still got to paint the bottom. Not a big deal, but the whole cabinet, everything here. So we got to address the marquee next, and it's got an old light in here. And believe it or not, this is not Nintendo's light fixture. This is just some random light fixture out of a different arcade game. It's got a fluorescent light. If it had the original Nintendo lighting, I would probably try to keep it, but since it's got a makeshift thing that's kind of dangly-jangly in there anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put an LED light in there. Mike was nice enough to cut us, Mike Murray, my partner, my buddy, he was nice enough to actually cut us some plexi, so we can have not that broken piece in there, and it fits, it's great. So let's take care of the light, and let's put this marquee on, and that'd be what I'm finishing with today.
So we'll take this old junky one out, which is just a couple of screws, and we will put in a new LED. And then first we got to wire it in, and I have some bullet connectors, and we'll wire that in the back. So we're just going straight in the cabinet where the other one was hooked up, and pretty easy mounting.
All right, here's the test to see if the thing's gonna work. Oh, I'm doing the wrong thing. All right, so there's, hey, light. I think we're gonna bring that down a notch. I think that's our spot right there. Cool. All right, let's put the marquee in this thing.
Looks really nice. Look at that. There you go. Waiting for the color to pop in, but yeah, like that. That's gonna look sharp.
All right, it's that time again. It's time to pick T-molding. So I put both on here for you. So this is what the red would look like. I thought I'd like that, but I actually think I like the purple a little better. I'm not sure if you can see it all the way down here, but I like the purple lining here and then the purple in the letters. But what really sold me is when you put the bezel on, there is a lot of red in the front face of this cabinet. And I think the purple kind of breaks that up better than it running into the red. And you kind of see that there's a different color there. Whereas this, it's like red, purple. I kind of like that going out. So I think we're going to go with the purple today.
T-molding always gives games just that little extra something, you know? It's really nice to see the games start coming to life, and that T-molding is usually a pretty good indicator. Well, the next thing we have to do is put on the art, which I laid out over here so it'd be flat. And it's really cool artwork. I think that's gonna be neat, really nice looking. See if we can get it out and get it back over there. The artwork is awesome. It is the same, so it's not like a mirror image or anything with just the words flipped right. So on one side of the cabinet, he's gonna be facing toward the back of the cabinet. One side of the cabinet, he's gonna be facing toward the front. So anyway, just pretty cool. You can't put it on wrong. In other words, I can't face them both the wrong way or anything. So a piece of painter's tape actually made this pretty easy to line up. I just actually had to stick the top. So nothing goes wrong. This might be the easiest side art I've applied. Well, that looks pretty good. I think that came out really good. Solid on both sides here. We're really close. Like, we can get this thing all the way together and working probably today. Just be waiting on the buttons to close this video out. I had to relocate into Starship Theater because Mark is here and he's actually doing some mopping, and so I want to get out of his way. It's time to put the monitor back in. I've already put the brackets back in. This is probably one of the easier games to put a monitor in because it's a 19-inch monitor and because it actually sits on a little shelf in here. So pretty easy to do. So let's do that now. So yeah, this mine just really makes it look nice. Pretty good looking. I think people are gonna think this is a cool cabinet. Okay, so it's time to put the original board back in here. This is the 1984 Nintendo right there. I think this little Konami board, this is the part that's the Castlevania on this kind of Nintendo motherboard here. It actually, you can see a CV for Castlevania. I believe this is from 1987, I believe. Again, don't quote me on that. I'm sure I can correct myself. But we're gonna put this back in the cabinet, and it looks like, just the way these keys are here, it needs to go in like this, which feels backwards. But we're gonna stick it in there and find out. There you go. And this one goes this way. Perfect. All right, so now we got to plug in the monitor. It has, I know this sounds crazy, but it literally just plugs in like a regular TV, which is wild. All right, so it's got power now. So the next thing we need to do is plug in the video signal. I think I got it all hooked up right. We'll try it. Obviously we don't have any buttons, but I can reach in and hit the start button. Let's see what happens. Hey! Castlevania. Man, the colors on this monitor are really good. I forgot about that. And that's remember, this is a tinted plexi, so that's tuned pretty well, especially in a dark arcade. I think it's gonna look really good. Is it this one? Hey! Just like you remember on Nintendo. I got duck, I got left, I got right, so that's gotta be good. Into the castle we go. Pretty cool, guys. I think I'm gonna die here, these ghouls. Oh, gosh. Anyway, it's alive! Got the control panel all locked on, which is super exciting. Got all the buttons working. There was a little bit of problem getting the B button to work, and the wire was broke right at the connector, so I had to put a new connector on. Super boring. So I probably showed you too much boring stuff already. All right, Autumn's here today. She's doing the finishing touches, tightening the nuts on the coin door. Awesome. Well, today is the day. We're here at the Starship. Final day of versus Castlevania. We're gonna get this thing finished up, get it ready for the floor, and then we're gonna have a special guest come play it and make sure that it is
just right. But we got a sticker. We got to put this sticker on really quick. Anyway, let's check it out. Alright, well, Castlevania is finished, and I'm so excited. But now, we need our special guest. We need to go get the master.
Excellent.
Do you have the master?
Yes, sir. Master's time.
Good evening, mortals. It is me, Count Dracula, and I'm here with Versus Castlevania at the electric Starship Arcade. They say video games can't be brought back from the dead, but I think with a little bite of power, they can. Oh, Simon Belmont, we beat again. See, you're still whipping away at my architecture. Alright, let's give this thing a try. I must admit, the soundtrack is to die for. Alright, we're in the castle. As you can see, it's much like the NES version. It's where I had the turkey leg. There it is. Oh my god, I'm getting beaten by my own bats. I'll ask you to go away. And that's it. That's how you play Castlevania.
Well, what do you think, guys? We finished Versus Castlevania in the Versus Nintendo, or the Nintendo Versus System Nintendo cabinet. It's all custom. It looks brand new. And it's a lot of fun to play. So, Turbo, I want to thank you for bringing in the hearse and the casket and dealing with me doing all of this stuff just for a little video. And so, thank you, sir.
Well, this is definitely the season to do it. I'm glad we were able to go all out for your entertainment pleasure.
There you go. Well, we got it all together. I want to thank Autumn for helping out a little bit. I want to thank Brian for helping out a bit. And I want to thank you for always watching the videos and being so kind in the comments. And remember to like and subscribe. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much. Goodbye from the Electric Starship Arcade.